2. Let's go ahead and start with our Pledge of Allegiance. I'm handing it to you, I imagine, Miss Lindsay.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Hey, good job.
Let me go ahead with the roll call.
Yeah, I'd like to hand it
All
over
right,
to you, Miss
President McIntyre,
Lindsay. I'm here. Good evening.
Vice President Campbell-Voitel,
I am here.
Treasurer Stewart,
Here.
Secretary Meyer, I'm here. Good evening, everyone. Trustee Frazier.
Here.
Trustee Mabry.
Here.
Trustee Maurer.
Here.
Great. We are all here this evening, and we are joined by Dr. Weber, our superintendent, our central office leadership team, and some lovely members in the audience. So excited to be here at Winchester tonight. And let's go ahead and start with our adoption of our agenda.
All right. I bring motion 44 that the agenda be adopted as presented.
Support.
Okay, we have a motion properly presented by Dr. Campbell-Voitel, supported by Ms. Maurer. All in favor? Any opposed? All right, motion carries. Thank you. Next up are consent resolutions.
All right. I bring motion 45 that the board accept the consent agenda items as follows. 5A, minutes of the October 21st, 2025 Board of Ed meeting. One item on the consent agenda.
Support. All right. Motion properly presented by Dr. Campbell-Voitel, supported by Ms. Stewart. Consent resolutions are items that we've seen under separate cover or discussed at previous meetings. Let's go ahead for a vote with that. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, motion carries. Next, we have our communications.
Yes, we have received communications at mps@boe@northvilleschools.org.
Great. All right, thank you. Then why we are all here this evening is our Winchester Elementary presentation. So I will pass it back over to you, Ms. Lindsay.
Welcome to Winchester Elementary and our 2025 Board of Education presentation. I'm a proud fifth grade leader here at Winchester. We're so happy to have you with us tonight to learn more about our amazing school community, a place that's been growing leaders for 50 years.
This year, our theme is Peace, Love, and Dragons, and tonight you'll see how these words truly capture the heart of a community, the heart of Winchester, a peaceful place to learn, a loving community, and a legacy of leadership powered by our Golden Dragon spirit. Before we begin, our principal, Miss Lindsay, would like to say a few words.
Good evening. As Melanie and Hannah said, we're thrilled to welcome you to Winchester tonight. Winchester has always been more than just a building. It's a place where hearts connect, where children grow, and where leadership is nurtured every single day. This evening, you'll hear from our students, from our littlest learners and young fives up to our confident fifth grade leaders, all of whom have worked really hard this evening to create a meaningful evening for you. We are proud to be a Leader in Me Lighthouse School and be recognized for creating a culture of leadership, empowering students to find their voice, and helping every child grow into the very best version of themselves. I am thankful for our Winchester students, their parents, and our dedicated teachers who are here this evening with us. I also want to give a big shout out to Mrs. Japolta for all of her work in putting together the special treats and gift bags this evening that you all have received. We hope you enjoy learning about what makes Winchester so special.
Thank you, Miss Lindsay. At Winchester, our mission is learning together, leading forever. And we truly believe that when we learn and grow together, we can do amazing things.
To show our appreciation for all you do, we prepared a small gift bag for each of you. Inside, you'll find treats that were popular in 1975, the year Winchester first opened. Thanks to Miss Japota, we found goodies like Sugar Daddies, Clark Bars, Jolly Ranchers, Ring Pops, and a special 50th anniversary keychain. We hope they bring a smile to your face.
As you may know, this year marks Winchester's 50th anniversary. On October 15th, the entire school wore our Golden Dragon shirts, created a large 50 on the playground. The photo was taken with a flying drone overhead. We kicked off the celebration. We kicked off the celebration with our Leader and Me Leadership Day on Friday, October 24th. We welcomed back former principals, teachers, and staff. It was amazing to see how Winchester's legacy continues to grow. Tonight, we'll take you on a journey through Winchester's past, present, and future.
Let's start with voices from our past. During Leadership Day, students asked our special guests some great questions. Here's what they had to say.
Hi, I'm Ani, and I'm a 5th grade leader. I'm wondering if you had a favorite memory here at Winchester, what would it be?
It was the laughter. The kids made me laugh, I made them laugh, and it was just a bonding kind of thing that kept everybody happy and content throughout the school year.
5th grade Battle of the Books. That was awesome. Everybody loved that.
I think the memory that sticks with me the most is I would pull in the parking lot and my whole world would light up walking into this building. It was like I loved my job, and it just brought up the most wonderful feelings about the job that I had here.
Hi, I'm Oliver. I'm a 3rd grade leader. What does being a Winchester Dragon mean to you?
Well, it means I'm part of something. It means I'm part of a team. And even though I'm retired, I'm part of the retired team.
I've taught at lots of different schools in my career, but this was the most special school. It just felt like a family. Like the minute you walk in, it just had this coziness. I'm always proud. I still have my Winchester Dragon from 15 or 20 years ago.
I think it means there's a history. You're part of the history.
Hi, my name is Tia. I'm a 4th grade leader. What makes Winchester a special place for you?
The nice thing about teaching at Winchester was that I taught everyone from kindergarten through 5th grade, so I knew everybody at the school. So I taught them either French and Spanish, and I enjoyed teaching both languages to all of my students.
Just the team, really, to have a great team of teachers, to have great mentors, to have great people who came even after me, who taught me so much about teaching, about myself, and about the kids and their families.
A combination of everybody working together to try to include everybody and make everybody happy about who they are, and loving the fact that our differences is what makes our world interesting and wonderful. And we don't want to all be the same.
Hello, my name is Evelyn, and I'm in 1st grade. And today I'm wondering if you could give a message to today's Winchester Elementary students, what would it be?
Have a great time. Yeah. Relax, have fun, enjoy, and be a learner.
Just be yourself.
Work hard. Be respectful. Be kind. Get joy from being kind to your classmates and your teachers.
Just continue the learning and the leadership skills that you're developing in your classrooms.
Enjoy school. Find passion in learning.
Always enjoy who you are and all the different people that you meet along the way.
Next, we'll hear from 76 students in Mrs. Linton, Mrs. Noonan, and Mrs. Baydoun's classes. They shared highlights from Winchester's journey to becoming a Leader in Me Lighthouse School.
At Winchester, our mission is learning together, leading forever, and we truly believe that when we learn and grow together, we can do amazing things. As you know, this year marks Winchester's 50th anniversary. We have 76 students in Miss Lenny, Miss Noonan, and Miss Baydoun's classes who have been learning all about Winchester's history. They'll be sharing highlights from our journey to becoming a Leader in Me Lighthouse School.
Welcome to Winchester Elementary.
We are so glad you're here. We got stories to tell and leaders to show off. In May 1975, a time capsule was placed in the ground. No one knows exactly where it is. But it's part of our story. School officially opened later that year. We were ready for 439 students. But surprise, Silver Springs closed just 3 weeks later. And we welcomed their students from the community to 790. Principal Jacob was ready. The school had an open layout. But in 1977, temporary walls made a classroom. In 2015, something big happened. We started learning the 7 habits. Every classroom got a book. We created a school mission. Learning together, leading forever. We raised money to support our leadership work. The dads come at the PTA and help us grow. Families cheered us on. We launched as a Leader in Me school. Committees popped up everywhere. Beautification, artwork, morning songs, and True Magic. We created classroom missions. We started monthly assemblies. We sang our 7 private songs. We took on leadership roles. We used the leadership notebooks. We set goals and tracked progress. Our first school-wide goal was granted. Student leaders exploding. Morning announcements. Student lighthouse. Ambassadors. Safety leaders. Credit union leaders. In 2017, we became a lighthouse school with academic distinction. We celebrated with welcome staff. The lighthouse out front in 2018, flexible seating arrived. Wobble stools. Sushi tables. Pushing galore. And a gaga moment filled by group of dads and student leaders. COVID tried to stop us in 2020. We came back stronger in 2021. Renovations made our school shine. Steam room.
Updated bathrooms.
In 2021, we hit milestone 2. Lighthouse with academic honor roll. In 2023, with a milestone 3 of getting academic honor roll. Our playground was updated with help from student voices. Monkey bars, swings, and spinning wheels. In 2022, we named our ground Winchester with 98% of the vote. In 2025, we turned 50 years old. We searched for the time capsule, metal detectors were found in nothing. But we're still digging and still leading. We lead in our classrooms. We lead in our hallways. We lead on the playground. We lead in assemblies. We lead with our voices. We lead with our choices. We lead with kindness. We lead with courage. We lead with creativity. We lead with teamwork.
We lead with courage.
Because at Winchester,
We are all leaders.
Did you hear that when Winchester opened in 1975, it welcomed students from Silver Springs Elementary? Silver Spring School was closed when a millage election failed, and Winchester had 790 students attend school in the fall of 1975. Mr. Jacoby, our first principal, said it felt like welcoming family home. That sense of community is still strong today.
There's even a book written about Winchester. Mr. Winters, a special Winchester parent, wrote it to celebrate our 50th anniversary. He's here tonight with his daughter Stella, a fourth grader, to read this special book. Hi, I'm Stella, and my dad wrote this book for the 50th anniversary. I'm really proud of him and honored to be here and read this to you. I chose some of my favorite parts to read. It was really hard to choose.
Thank you. I'll just read a little excerpt from the back. This was a great project to do. I'll say very little because it's a busy night, but it was so much fun to do this with my kids. So, at Winchester Elementary in Northville, Michigan, every child learns the true meaning of the school's mission: learning together, leading forever. This story, filled with laughter, courage, and friendship, celebrates the spirit of Winchester, where big challenges become amazing adventures. Dedicated to the extraordinary teachers and children who fill its halls each day, How to Move a Giant Dragon reminds us all that learning and leadership begin with a community that believes in each other.
How to Move a Giant Dragon. Before Winchester Elementary had classrooms, playgrounds, or even a front door, it had a huge problem. There was a giant red snoring dragon. Let's feed him snacks, said another. They brought pizza, cupcakes, spaghetti, and 17 pickles. Chester sniffed the air, but stayed right where he was. The builders were out of ideas. Some kids peeked over the fence. Are we ever going to get our new school? They whispered. That's when Stella, a brave third grader with pigtails and light-up sneakers, marched right up to Chester's ear and shouted, "Hey, Chester, we want to learn together and lead forever. Help us build our school." "Why didn't you just say so? Move over, people. I've got a school to build." From that day on, Chester was Winchester's official helper. The school even left a big open field just for Chester, so he could zoom, spin, and dance without knocking over the monkey bars. And anytime a kid felt nervous or left out, Chester would lean down, grin his big toothy grin, and say, "At Winchester, we learn together and lead forever. And just like me, there's always room for you." Thank you, Mr. Winters and Stella. Your book truly captures the heart of Winchester. We love it.
As we prepare for our end of the year 50th anniversary block party, Miss Lindsay discovered a file from 1975 that mentioned a time capsule when the school first opened. The only problem, it didn't say where it was buried.
So we held a time capsule dig on October 1st. Students and families came with metal detectors and shovels. We found nails, metal pieces, even old beer cans, but no time capsule. Then we got a new clue and held another time capsule on Monday near the art room window. We're still searching, but we're not giving up. Either way, we're excited to create a new time capsule filled with artifacts from 2025. And this time we'll make sure to mark the spot.
Back in 1975, Winchester students made predictions about the future. They thought by 1985 we used a metric system, have U-shaped airplanes, television, phones would be in homes, and there would be flying cars. By the 2000s, they imagined robots working, jobs, pollution everywhere, and even buildings on the moon. We asked today's students what they think life will be like in 50 years. Here's what they had to say.
Hi, my My name is Nicole. I'm in 4th grade. And in 50 years, I think that there's going to be a new type of car that maybe is going to have a pool in it. Hi, my name is Agvin. I'm from 5th grade. I think in 50 years, there'll be a teleporting machine which can teleport you anywhere. Hi, I'm Ryan, and I'm in 3rd grade. I predict in 50 years that wallpaper will be replaced with screens. Hello, my name is Gracie. I'm in 1st grade, and in 50 years, I think that maybe every house will have a pool or a play structure. Hi, my name is Zane. I'm in 3rd grade, and I think in 50 years, homework would be a new technology. Like people would use a new thing for homework. My name is Stelios, and I am in 5th grade, and I think that in 50 years, then Winchester will get a kitchen so we can make homemade lunches.
Hello, I'm Calvin, and I'm in 5th grade. My prediction in 50 years is I think that there's going to be electronics in town and downtown and everywhere, just like around the city. I think there's going to be like electronic billboards and lots of just electronics in general for advertising.
Hi, I'm Carter. I'm in 4th grade, and in 50 years, I think the world will have no pollution.
What I think it's going to be like in 50 years, I think there's if you want a snack and you don't want to move, you can just type it on your phone. Like say I want chocolate, you just type chocolate and then kapoof, it'll come out.
Hi, I'm Aaron. I'm in 2nd grade, and I think in 50 years, 1st and 2nd graders are going to be grandmas and grandpas.
We hope you've enjoyed this journey through Winchester's past, present, and future. To close our presentation, we'd like to share the voices of our young fives and kindergarten students, the future of Winchester.
Adios, amigos. Sayonara. Adios, so long. As you go down the road of life, carrying a heart and song, we hope you enjoy your time on Winchester. Filled with peace and love. For all the good things that He's glad to be leading on. My friends, adios, amigos. Sayonara, adios, so long. As you go down the road of life, carrying a heart and song, I hope you enjoy your time with Winchester. Filled with dreams and love. Always keep standing. It's time to lead on.
Thank you to our Kinderstings and kindergarten rock stars. You are the next generation of leaders, full of peace, love, and dragon power. Distinguished board, we'd now be happy to answer any questions you may have.
Distinguished board, we'd now be happy to answer any questions you may have.
So I was wondering, you can't find the time capsule, but there was a letter about the time capsule. Did it say anything about what was in the time capsule? So I'm curious if I could have two people make a guess about what might have been. What do you think is in that time capsule from 1975?
$1 million.
All right.
Oh,
man.
William knows what's up.
A crusty newspaper?
Say it again.
A crusty newspaper?
Oh, a newspaper. Those are good guesses.
Probably what happened, like treats, or like how, like why they had to move like schools and stuff.
Memories of our principals.
Oh.
Stuff that like they used like when like the school first opened.
Maybe like letters written from the past.
Pictures of us in school.
Yeah.
Maybe like artwork that all the students made.
Some dirt.
I like the $1 million.
Dirty chocolate bars.
Maybe pictures of the school the first year.
Maybe things that were like popular in 1975.
Maybe a yearbook or a t-shirt.
Nice. Thank you.
Well, I thank you very much for this wonderful, heartwarming presentation. I loved it. It was great to see reflections on what all the people that have been at Winchester and hearing from those of you who are here now. I was thinking, what if there was in the time capsule a picture of Miss Lindsay, but she looked exactly the same as she does now? That would be a little creepy. I have a question. I heard some predictions about 50 years from now. When you're a 50-year-old grandparent, or you just got off a cruise or whatever you've been doing in 50 years, what kind of memory do you want to think you'll bring with you from Winchester, from your time here? What sticks out to you? Maybe something like a favorite food from the cafeteria, or recess, or something like that, a memory or something that sticks with you about Winchester. What do you think you'll be thinking about in 50 years?
End of the year block party.
All my friends.
No.
All my friends.
My teachers. I think all the people who helped us learn stuff like that.
Our community.
Our specials.
Our principals.
Our life.
Recess.
People that were old that were not supposed to be here.
My teachers.
The staff. Field day.
Today.
When it was past. I forget.
Winchester was first made?
Field trips.
Be kind. Art class.
Learning. Library.
Making friends.
I have a question for some of my fifth graders here. Let me see Melanie, Imani, Fatima, who else fifth graders? So fifth graders, you're about to move on to middle school, but you have the youngest learners in here. What is a piece of advice you would give to our littlest kids here about your time at Winchester?
Probably to listen to directions and listen to your teachers.
Probably that you should enjoy the time when you're in elementary school because it helps you a lot. You make friendships and you learn a lot about yourself.
Learn as much as you can.
Always try your best.
Question about the time capsule that you guys are planning to place. And I wondered if maybe a couple people would have an idea of how they would want to mark that spot so you could for sure find it in 50 years. Would you put a big giant dragon there? Or I don't know, I'd love to hear what you guys might put there.
Do a file and put exactly where it is, and then put a little dragon over it, maybe.
We could put a dragon with the 50th anniversary, and then it could be in the middle of the 0. Put the capsule where we put it our painted rocks so we won't forget it. I forgot.
I think we should put Stella's and her dad's book into it to celebrate the 50th.
Probably put an X with spray paint and write in time capsule, and giant letters.
I forgot.
You can just do a mic of 50 years of spray paint of 50 years where it maybe have a plant.
Maybe a lighthouse going up and a dragon on top.
Maybe you could put a rock that says that's carved into a time capsule. Do not open until 50 years.
That's a good idea.
Enjoy Winchester.
Grab a stick and put an X mark the spot.
Put your pictures from school. Put a 50 that's red and has an X in the 0.
Hide it in plain sight in a glass case.
You should make a file, but you should also maybe grow a tree over it.
A huge giant dragon.
put like something that you could like remember, like maybe we could like vote or like something like your favorite thing about Winchester, and we could put like a picture of that thing so remember where it is.
Thank you. I hope in 50 years you all come back and celebrate looking into the time capsule that you'll help build. We'll be waiting for you.
Thank you.
In one moment, I got this text on where the time capsule may be. Now, I'm sure Principal Lindsay's probably gotten a million hot tips that just haven't panned out. I'm going to try the best. So, former colleague of mine was a second grader here when this building opened. She talked to her fifth grade teacher, Mr. Hucka, through his daughter, who teaches in the district she's at. There's a lot of stories, I bet, around this, right? He said the Winchester time capsule is located right next to the tree that they planted the same year. Hope that helps. Now, the hard time with trees is sometimes they go away through the wind or ice storms. But I'm going to say this is a pretty good pro tip. And maybe what we need to do is maybe we need to get a hold of like Channel 2 or 4, CBS Detroit, and see if they can do a story on it to find somebody who knows, or maybe there's a parent who has like x-ray glasses. Some of you are old enough to have purchased those through comic books back in the day. Maybe.
So
We need to find it though.
Funny you should say that.
Oh, wait.
Because we do have a little thing in our back pocket, somebody that's coming out. Bill, what's the technology called again? Mr. Tuckfield has been heading up our dig, so I know.
What? That is going to be run over the hotspots that we think, and we think will at least be able to tell us if it's there or not. Thank you.
So we said we weren't giving up, and so it just, people in the community just keep stepping up and offering another opportunity for us to look one more time. But we're not giving up. We do know we learned a valuable lesson, right? We've talked about this, that we need more details for the new time capsule so that people can actually find it. But it's been great fun. And I hope that this is a memory they take with them as they leave Winchester about all the time we spent trying to find it. So thank you all very much.
Thank you all. Thank you. Oh, whoa. All right. Before we go, I don't want to let go of this. If you would like to, you don't have to, but any student and their parents, if you want to stand here behind the board and we can get a picture. Also, my expectation is the people who work with me are going to do the same thing. Thank you. So come on up. If you guys want to, your parents can let you know, and they can stand behind the board here.
I know where to put this mic.
Every year I miss it. I stand away.
Don't hurt yourselves. Don't hurt yourselves. Don't stand on the chair. There are rules. Yeah.
Yep. Come on in. Face. Right in here. Good job.
Hey, what did you guys get? I don't know. I don't know. You guys can come up. You can come up. Yeah. You should. I thought I saw some things right here. Yeah, it's also.
What's your name? Juliet. That's a beautiful name.
Move over. Squeeze in.
Smiles, everyone. Say ground penetrating radar. Say gold and blue. $1 million. Thank you all for coming tonight. And for
Thank you.
Thanks for being here, everyone.
That's Fletcher's mom. That's Fletcher's mom. I love your song. It's awesome.
Yeah. Thank you for being here. Good to see you. Appreciate it. Really?
Yeah, actually, I also had lessons today. So we played, today we played Northville. It was awesome. Keep doing music, we love it. Thank you. So thanks for really? That's amazing. Your dad? And you get to go here. Isn't that amazing? Thanks for saying hi. Oh, those kids, are you kidding me? The young fives come up. Come on now. Well done.
Good job. Tell your dad I said bye.
Oh, I gotta show him the website. No, we'll figure that out. We showed it.
Ready.
ABCD,
All right.
let's do it.
Dr. Weber.
Right. And so one of our favorite pieces of coming to buildings as well. And by the way, pro tip in bringing the young fives out to sing. That was amazing. But we get to honor our staff in the buildings that we come to, and we do that through our ABCD awards. So President McIntyre, I believe your crew is ready to celebrate.
Yeah, we are ready to go. Let's start with Beth Brown. Is she here tonight?
I don't see her.
No? Okay. All right. Beth Brown is a preschool teacher at Old Village School, and a student made the submission on her behalf. And the submission reads, I was very scared to start preschool, and I cried when mom and dad dropped me off the first few days. Mrs. Brown was so nice to me, and she made me feel loved and safe. She showed me how to write my name, and she always helps me when I ask for help. Now I love preschool, and I can't wait to run in when Mrs. Brown opens the door each morning. I even asked Mom if we could please visit Mrs. Brown at the preschool on Saturday because I missed her, and Mom had to explain that she doesn't actually live there. I thought that was the best. Mrs. Brown is the best teacher, and I'd like to thank her for being so nice to me. And on behalf of the leadership team and the Board of Education, thank you, Mrs. Brown, for all of your contributions and efforts to add such tremendous value to our school community. All right, she's not here, right? No. All right, thank you, Mrs. Brown. And next we have
Deb of Znewick. I'm sorry if I'm mispronouncing that. Mrs. O. Mrs. O. Okay.
Perfect.
So Mrs. O was nominated by a parent who said that she's always kind and helpful. She's been running the show in the Winchester office for so many years. She's honestly a gem, and she loves the kids at Winchester, and they adore her. She's great with them. Mrs. Lindsay has been lucky to have Mrs. O by her side all these years she's been at Winchester, and I'm sure she knows that. Thank you, Mrs. O, for all you do at Winchester every day. The Winchester community loves you and appreciates you. So on behalf of...
And we have the tape mark, Karen?
Huh?
The tape
Oh,
mark.
there's a tape mark.
There's a tape mark, Evan. Thank you. Always have my back.
Okay. Oh, wait. This
Here,
all goes-
you can come right up in the front.
Right, this goes to Mom. Mom, maybe I can give her the clip too. Thank you for coming tonight. Thank you, Ian.
Thank you, brother.
that would be me up next. Is Julie Redwine here? Hi, Julie. And I was so excited to see a social worker on here. So this was submitted on behalf of a parent. Mrs. Redwine went far and above and beyond when working with my son on his emotional regulation and self-control. She created a safe and fun environment for him to feel special rather than broken, and celebrated rather than berated. She also assured this worried parent on several occasions that progress comes in all quantities and that the most important thing for any child is to be happy and feel supported. Mrs. Redwine discovered that my son is a budding baseball player and even surprised him with a hat from the high school baseball team, something he truly treasures and makes him feel so special. Thank you so much, Mrs. Redwine.
I am just falling all over the place.
Jennifer will be up in about 5 minutes.
And we're missing our next person.
Jenna just went to.
Oh,
Jim.
There are cookies out there. That's where all the action is.
All right. Well, I am honored to read the award for our wonderful principal, Lindsay. She is wonderful, and we have an incredible parent group here at Winchester, and you're nominated by one of the best parents that we have here. So the parent says, I have 3 boys in district, and this will be our last year at Winchester as my youngest is in grade 5. And let me tell you, it's going to be hard to leave and say goodbye to Mrs. Lindsay. She is out there every day, no matter what the weather is, greeting her students and us parents, and then also sending them off every afternoon asking how their day was. She's always there for school fundraiser events that are off school property and always in action helping at events held at the school and stays until the very end. And she always makes time for everyone. In addition, she's always looking out for her staff too. They come first and she comes last. I know this because of all the things I've done over the years at Winchester. She is a very special person, and I hope she knows how loved she is by her Winchester community.
Wonderful. All right. Thank you, everybody. Always amazing ABCD awards. Let's move on then to our next. This is our first opportunity for public comment. I don't see any blue comment cards or any cards. Okay. All right. No comment cards tonight. Then I will hand it over to you, Ms. Stewart, our treasurer, for our next item.
Okay. I'd like to bring forth motion number 46, that the board approve the 2024-25 audit report as presented.
Support.
All right. We have a motion properly presented by Ms. Stewart, supported by Ms. Meyer. We just talked about this briefly in our committee of the whole. I wonder, Devin, if you wanted to kind of give us an overview, some details just about things that we want to really make sure that we were paying attention to and communicating with our community.
Yeah, so we at the community of the whole at 5:30, we kind of had a run through with Plant Moran. Jennifer with Plant Moran is here. She's actually in the media center. I went to go get her, so hopefully she's coming here. Oh, there she is. So we kind of went through our annual audit. This is something we do every year. And it's basically a snapshot of the fiscal year for the school. So it looks at all of your revenue, expenditures. It kind of pulls your grants and makes sure that not only records what happens, but also make sure that you're compliant. And it's crucial for us to get audited because it makes sure that we're recording things correctly, and then also it's a snapshot of the year financially. Sorry, Jennifer, you want to come up here? Or?
Perfect, yes.
Okay. There's a slide. So they put together a PowerPoint, and it kind of gives the highlights of the audit and kind of the year from a financial perspective. Do you want to use this one? Okay. So I'll let her kind of go through the presentation.
Good evening. All right. Well, thank you for time on your agenda tonight to present the results of the June 30th, 2025 audit. As was introduced, my name is Jennifer Chambers. I'm the engagement partner for the audit. And, we spent a couple of weeks performing the audit back in September, and we appreciated the time spent to go through, and we're here to present the results. So before we go through the financial results, I did want to just discuss the deliverables that the board received. There are 3 items that are part of the board packet. The first is the basic financial statements labeled financial report. The second was the federal programs audit. And the third is the letter entitled Report to the Board of Education. As it relates to the first deliverable, the financial report, this is what we refer to as the financial statements. We have performed the audit of the district's financial statements in accordance with auditing standards generally accepted in the United States of America and in accordance with government auditing standards. As a result of our audit, we have rendered an unmodified opinion, which is the highest form of assurance as auditors that we can give that the district's financial statements are fairly presented. Also included in the financial report, in the footnote section, there is a part that describes that the district was subjected to bond and sinking fund compliance requirements, and that we performed audit procedures related to the expenditures associated with those requirements. And we did not identify any compliance issues with the costs that we selected for testing there. As it relates to the second item I mentioned, the federal programs audit, this is a separate audit that is performed over the district's federal grants received. This year, the district received approximately $3.9 million in federal funding. And annually, we go through an assessment that's risk-based based on the federal guidelines to determine which program or programs that we will test. This year, we selected the Special Education Program, or IDEA, and it was found to be in compliance with the grant regulations, and we do intend to issue an unmodified opinion on this program. Currently, the report is in draft form. The issuance of the federal programs audit is dependent on the release of the Office of Management and Budget Compliance Supplement, a document that is released by the federal government but has not yet occurred. As a result, we will hold on the issuance of this report until that is released. But for all intents and purposes, we consider the audit complete. We just need to await that release until that can be issued. And that is true for all school districts, not just specific to Northville. The final deliverable that I just wanted to mention that the board received was the report to the Board of Education. This is a letter that outlines post-audit required communications. It includes several informational items as well for your review and consideration. I do want to congratulate the district on a successful audit. I want to thank Ms. Deb Converse, who's not here. She was here earlier for the Committee of the Whole discussion. But I appreciate all of her time and effort associated with getting things ready and prepared for the audit. Mr. Kling as well, and for his work associated with that, and all of the business office staff. And now we can go through the results of the audit itself. So the primary focus of the presentation is on the general fund, which is the main operating fund of the district. Throughout the graph presentation, if you see parentheses noted underneath the numbers, This is prior year percentages, just for reference sake. So the first graph that we have shows the general fund revenue. And the general fund revenue for June 30th, 2025 was just shy of 100 million at 99.9 million. The largest section of the graph here from a funding source perspective is the state revenue at 75%. And within this teal shaded section, of that 75%, there's an unrestricted component and a restricted component. So the unrestricted component, or sometimes referred to as the foundation allowance, that's about 55% of the 75%. And then the other 20% is restricted. So those would be state categoricals, or sometimes like state grants. At risk, 31AA, the MIPSers pass-through funding, which we'll talk a little bit about throughout the graph presentation, that helps support some of the MIPSers costs. So that those are considered restricted funds. So that's all built into that teal section that you're seeing. In the current year as well, there was about 3% received for federal funding. That's down from about 5%. So that's the trail off of the COVID funds. So there was a decline year over year in the amount of federal funds received. Non-homestead property taxes is about 11% of the total revenue. And interdistrict source revenue at about 5.7%. That is primarily the countywide enhancement millage funds that you receive. That's about $3 million that you get, as well as Act 18 pass-through funds from the county. That's about $2.8 million. The next graph takes a look at the historical viewpoint of the foundation allowance. So as I mentioned, the largest component of the revenue that the district receives is from the state. And I mentioned that unrestricted piece of state aid that you get. This is that foundation allowance per pupil. And so we wanted to take a look at what that has been over a 10-year horizon, dating back all the way to fiscal year 15-16. So for the fiscal year that we're taking a look at, June 30th, 2025, the amount that the district received per pupil was $9,608. That amount remained unchanged from the prior year, so there was no difference, no amount different from fiscal year 23-24. But now moving into fiscal year 25-26, the district will receive $10,050 per pupil. Now switching gears over to general fund expenditures. This graph breaks down expenditures by function. Total expenditures for the general fund were just shy of $100 million. When we look at expenditures by function, we're really looking at expenditures by area. So where within the district are the expenditures being incurred? The majority of the expenditures here are being incurred in the classroom. So direct classroom instruction expenditures at about 62.9%. Next, we have about 27% being spent on support services. And here it's categorized as other, but it's important to recognize that those other support services are really those that are supporting that classroom instructional costs. So everything that goes into supporting that in terms of instructional staff, the school administration, operations and maintenance, transportation, and community services. 7% is at pupil services and just nominal amounts in athletics and capital outlay. The next chart continues to look at general fund expenditures, but here instead of looking at where the costs were expended, we're looking at the types of costs and breaking it down so you can see year over year the different types of expenditures and the fluctuations. So, there's some fluctuations happening in the types of expenditures. From a salaries and benefits perspective, when you combine those two for fiscal year 25, that totals about 80% of the total expenditures for the district. Salary costs individually, those were up about 8.7% year over year. I did want to just make a comment on the benefits costs, just because that does show a variance from, typically you'd see salaries and benefits usually trend together. And this would show a contrasting change. There's some complexities going on in the benefits line item, particularly as it relates to those MIPSers pass-through funds that I mentioned on the revenue side. So what happens with those is those come through as revenue from the state. You're required to remit that back to the state. It is expenditures as well. And it's part of the overall retirement costs. However, those funds were higher in fiscal year 23, lower in fiscal year 24, 25. And those are mechanisms that are kind of occurring outside of district's control as the state works to kind of address the underfunding of the MIPSer system. And so you almost have to take that piece out of the equation when you're looking at benefits fluctuation. So if you were to take that piece out from an overall benefits perspective, we are seeing that still trend consistent with the salaries trend. It's just not readily apparent on this screen. So I did just want to kind of make that comment that there's kind of more going on there than you can see directly there. So now we'll take a look at the general fund balance. Going back to 2016, again, just for historical context, so you can see the fluctuation and the trend of fund balance over the time horizon, as well as a metric presented at the bottom, again, just for context, the fund balance as a percentage of expenditures. Sometimes this is used as a benchmark. As the dollar value of fund balance changes, it's good to keep that into perspective in terms of understanding the base of the expenditures as well, as that tends to increase over time also. When you compare fiscal 24 to fiscal 25, the level of fund balance did not really change. The district effectively broke even when you look year over year. There's different components when you also look at fund balance, and we've provided a little legend at the bottom as well, just so you can understand the different pieces. But really when you're looking, comparing the teal section to kind of the gold, the teal section really kind of identifies a component of fund balance that's already spoken for. So when the board adopts its original budget back in June, it adopted a budget that was planning to utilize fund balance for the next year. So this identifies the piece of the fund balance that you've already planned to use. So when we look at that teal section that's highlighted, that part of the fund balance is really not available to be utilized. So we identify that so that you can see the remaining fund balance that would be considered unassigned or unspoken for, if you will. And then just kind of closing out the presentation with a couple of closing comments. And just kind of, qualitatively, when we were going through the audit, the state budget still had not been adopted at that point, and it was ultimately approved very late in the game, as I'm sure everyone is aware. Ultimately, as I mentioned, the foundation allowance per pupil did increase to that $10,050 per pupil amount. Although there were different pieces of the funding equation that got eliminated, some that were expected, some that were not. And so on a net basis, districts really ended up, behind from what was expected. And it's ultimately because of that elimination of the 147A1 item that I have here on the slide. That $100 per pupil was one of the items that came through as kind of a surprise at that late budget adoption that came through. So just wanted to kind of mention that as kind of forward looking versus the year under audit that we're talking about. From watch points, continuing to monitor student enrollment. This is something that's true for the state of Michigan, not just specific to here in Northville, but overall, birth rates, student enrollments as well continues to be kind of challenged in our state. So, you're doing a great job of keeping the pulse on that, continuing to do that as it does impact the other part of that equation of the funding per pupil. The other side of that is your enrollment. The community support for the sinking fund renewal is very impactful from a funding perspective, because on the slide where we talked about the expenditures and the little sliver of capital outlay, the fact that you can alleviate the general fund from having to bear those expenditures and have the support to be able to have funding source for those is impactful into the future. And then just continuing to keep an eye on the future of the school aid fund globally for the state, and just how that continues to take shape based on the impacts of what was adopted this past year. So just items to keep in mind for the future. So I'd be happy to answer any questions.
I don't really have, well, I may have a question later, but right now I don't have a question. I have more of a comment. I was wondering if you could explain a little bit more about the foundational allowance versus the MEPSers, just for people to get an understanding of how that impacts our school district and all school districts in terms of what they're hearing about what was passed for the per pupil and what actually we'll see because of that elimination of the cost offset.
So what occurred here is, so there were elements, and have been elements in the funding equation that has provided some cost relief to retirement expense. There's kind of two components that we've seen for a number of years. There's that kind of pass-through component that I mentioned, where you get funds, but you can't keep them, and then you have to remit them back to the retirement system. Those are those 147C funds that we talked about, and those continue at varying rates. They had these 147A funds were funds that were put into place where districts were able to have those funds to keep. You couldn't necessarily decide what to use them for. They're still considered restricted, revenue, but they were meant to offset kind of some of that burden of the retirement costs. And so the elimination of that funding does just take away funds ultimately. And so, there's been talk that the elimination of it was to be expected because, it's working at the MIPSers level to overall reduce the underfunding. And so we no longer need these types of offsets. That's some of the discussion. But at the local level, ultimately what it does is just say, there's $500 less per pupil in funding that you're getting. And the $400 per pupil was expected to a degree that was discussed in some of the early budget projections. And so while it's still difficult to absorb whenever you lose funding, it wasn't a complete surprise, whereas the $100 per pupil was a surprise.
And last year we didn't see a per pupil increase, but we had that MIPSers relief. So that kind of offset the fact that we didn't have an increase. I mean, I see your face. But this year they're saying there is an increase, but then they're taking this away. So the impact, what it looks like on the outset is, we've got this increase, but how it impacts our district is pretty significant in terms of us actually having those dollars to spend on students.
Yep. And while, tonight's presentation on the audit, and I can't go without saying, for Mr. Kling and his team to be within 1%, amazing, really, really well done. But I know this is a particularly sore spot for you. You did the calculation. So we were told, to your point, that we were getting, I think, 4 point something percent. And Mr. Kling, what's the real number? So we heard record funding, and then you back out the things you're asking for, Ms. Meyer, and actually it comes into it just over 1%, not what was shopped out there by people at 4 point something percent. And I've been very clear in my stance on the fact that really through this whole process that it was about the roads. In my opinion, the roads are a public good that we all use and should pay for, and shouldn't come from fixing potholes on the backs of our kids. What I found especially duplicitous was talking about the idea that we have record funding when the people who were saying it knew darn well we didn't, because to your point, they knew what they were backing out. And so we're fortunate to have Mr. Kling and his team's acumen, and rather quickly he did the research, and it varies by district. But the advertised funding increase was far less than advertised. So thank you for bringing that up.
I think it's important to underscore too that public schools are the only ones that are required to pay into MIPSers. So there are other public school academies that do not. They are not required to do this part of the benefits, which obviously it's an important service, right? We want our public educators to be able to retire and have a good pension or have good retirement benefits in that way. But it is a unique, well, it's not unique. It is it's part of the public education system also that we are not going to see that offset, and that will make things a little bit tighter for Northville Public Schools.
That you bring up a really good point that I don't know the answer to, and I don't know if anyone does, but last year, because they didn't have that MEPSers offset, they got an increase, the public charter academies. Did they also get a pure pupil increase this year?
Yeah, they did.
So I'm curious about what our next steps are. So we vote on this tonight, and then what do you guys have left to do? And if, since our federal awards report is in draft form until we get final guidelines from the federal government, what is the usual date that you're required to turn that report in and have it finalized? And without the guidelines to know if we're doing the report correctly, like how far off are we going to be? Obviously, crystal ball here, not even knowing when with the federal government shutdown, when we would get those guidelines. So what are some of the next steps?
So November 1st is usually when everything is due. And when the state budget got passed, actually MDE was able to get language built into that to make the appropriate modifications so that districts could comply with the law by submitting only their financial statements without the federal awards report, to the extent they have the single audit. And so this, financial statements will get filed on time and in compliance with the law by November 1st. But then what they did is say, upon release of this document, the compliance supplement, districts have 30 days to file the next report. And so that will be the next step once that gets filed.
Okay. And so at that point, hopefully it's pretty close to what you've already got in draft form, and hopefully there's not a lot of edits that you have to do. Would we then need to come back and vote on just that one piece, or what do we think? Is that, or it would be bundled in? It's all. On that. We're just, okay.
This is a board report.
Yep.
Okay. All righty.
Seems like, our job is to approve that we have the report, right?
Okay. I just wanted to make sure we didn't have to scramble in that 30 days to get back and make sure that we did anything on our end. Okay.
Yep.
Good.
Yeah, typically there's no board action associated with that.
Okay.
And so and our hope and expectation is that there will be no changes. There should be no changes. And, to the extent there is anything significant, then certainly there would be a communication, to the board if there was anything different than, what you've seen here in draft.
Perfect. Thank you.
Yep.
Any other questions or comments from the board about the audit?
I mean, I would just like to extend my sincere thanks to Deb and his team for having a successful audit. The sheer complexity of compliance alone, and you're 100% within compliance, says a lot about the care you take of our district and the responsibility you feel for taxpayers' money. So it's vastly appreciated. I also want to commend everyone on making a budget, which is full of unknowns. We don't know our enrollment. We don't know what the state aid. And I just am amazed that you guys can even do a budget at all with this crystal ball method. So thank you for all the hard work. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, I definitely want to second that. And also, Mr. Kling, you came on to working with Northville or being our CFO. I think it was about a year ago. Does that sound right? So the budget was already created and you stepped in. I know Deb filled that gap for a period of time, kind of doing multiple roles. So also really commend you to step in and be able to just, it was a seamless transition, so seamless. In fact, 1% variance is really incredible. So really glad to have you on Team Northville Public Schools. We're really lucky that you came into this district we were in a really good, healthy place, but there's been a lot of districts that have seen a lot of turnover of CFOs, and that can definitely contribute to some wild variances. So really grateful that you came in, seamless transition, boom, here we go. So excited to see what we can do moving forward.
Thanks, John.
All right, let's go ahead with finishing our vote then on this to approve the audit as presented. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, motion carries 7-0. Awesome work. Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Do we have any added agenda items? Okay, great. Then next I will hand it over to Dr. Campbell-Voitel. Public comments. I missed that. Second opportunity.
We have
No cards?
No, not
All right.
spontaneous speakers. All right, I would like to bring motion 47 that the board convene in closed session pursuant to Public Act 267 of the Open Meetings Act under Section 8C, negotiations, and Section 8K, safety and security.
Support.
Okay, we have a motion properly presented by Dr. Campbell-Voitel, supported by Ms. Meyer. I think we need a roll call vote to
We
go
do.
into closed session.
Yeah, we do.
Can you take a roll call vote for
Yes.
us? Okay.
McIntyre,
Yes.
Campbell-Voitel,
Yes.
Stewart,
Yes.
Meyer, I'm a yes. Frazier,
Yes.
Mabry,
Yes.
Maurer,
Yes.
All right, that's everybody. All right, so we will.
I just wanted to say, and I just want to thank Ms. Lindsay again. This was our first presentation in a school this school year, and it was a really I think it was great that we started here with I know Silver Springs also celebrated 50 years, so this has been a great experience to be able to celebrate with them and celebrate with you as well. And thank you for the very generous gifts to us. That's going to be fun to go down memory lane with the candy. So thank you very much to you and all the volunteers and everyone that helped create this evening, make it so special. So appreciate it.
Great. Thank you. Thanks for such a warm welcome. Okay, we will move into closed session, and then there will be likely after closed session nothing substantive in our further conversation. So we'll come back just to adjourn.
See if we can find our way back.